Good morning. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle and I am in mid-Missouri. Can't talk this morning. And I am a little bit embarrassed by the status of my gardens so far this year. It is May 26th and I do feel like I am a little bit behind. However, life happens and the gardens will catch up and they will be okay. So I thought I would take you on a walk this morning and show you what's going on so far. You can see here to my right, this is a Greenstalk vertical planter. I love my Greenstalk. One thing I love about Greenstalk is they're made right here in the United States. It is a little bit of a pricey investment. I wish I could buy about 3 or 4 more, but for now I'm going to enjoy this one. And I have in here some flowers and some lettuces, some spinach. I did just put in some nasturtium seeds yesterday, kind of in these open pockets. Let me find one here. I put one in here and a couple down below. When all of these lettuces come out, then I will put in probably some more flowers. One thing I love about the Greenstalk is you can get what's called a spinner base, and the spinner base can have wheels. So I can roll this around here on the deck and put it in its best spot. If we're going to have a particularly stormy night, I can very easily just roll this back up close to the house and keep it a little bit more protected. This year I did add a feature to my Greenstalk. I added a watering lid, and I love this because it keeps all the dirt and debris out of the watering basin that's on top. And so, isn't this lovely? Let's see. Oh, here we have, can you see that? Cosmic cherry petunias. These are edible. I've seen somebody on YouTube make a reddish kind of hot pink dye with these and add that to their cookies. It was so pretty. I've got some herbs. I've got rosemary in here. Sweet alyssum. It's really good for the pollinators, but it's also edible. I have not eaten any, but it sure does smell good. Let's see. Here's another sweet alyssum, just a different color. I've got spinach, which we've almost eaten all of the spinach out of here. And it's getting almost too late in the year for spinach to grow well in this area. We've had a very cool and wet spring, but once it gets hot, the lettuces and the spinach, they won't be any good anymore. They'll get to tasting bitter and they'll try to go to seed. I've got some marigolds, just beautiful. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show you what else I have up here on the porch, or the deck, whatever you want to call it. And then I will show you the flower beds that are in front of the porch. Okay. So right there next to the Greenstalk, I have another plant stand with strawberries and herbs. You can see here I have a strawberry that's about ready to pick. That looks delicious. Okay. Down here I have 2 different kinds of thyme. The one in the middle, this is my first year growing that one, and I just thought it was cute because it looked like a little topiary tree, but I'm not enjoying the taste of that one, so it'll just be for looks. Then we come on around, and I have some more planters. This one here, oops, get the camera right, is planted with chamomile. I've planted it twice. It's not doing well. I'm hoping it'll pull out of it and go ahead and produce some chamomile. I love chamomile tea. And then in this one I have calendula, which I use calendula to make salve. I do have, excuse me, eczema. And so the salve really helps with that. More strawberries, chives, and then eucalyptus, and I don't know what this one is called. I have another one inside the house that's just gigantic. All right, let's go down and look at the flower beds. Take a walk down the stairs. So these flower beds were put in let's see, we've been here for 5 years. I've been growing in these flower beds for 4 years. there were these gigantic shrubs in front of the house, and I didn't like them, so we pulled those out. And then I was able to put in these flower beds. My goal for these flower beds were to be full of perennials. And I love the way that they are filling out. I've got hostas and irises, allium, let's see, what is that one called? Blue salvia, some sedum in the planters here in the front, mint, trying to keep it contained but also get a sizable harvest. Here I've got some beautiful, I think these are called stargazer lilies. Gorgeous. Those were a gift from a friend. And then I have hollyhocks here in the corner. These hollyhocks have been here for 3 years, and they do finally have some buds, and I cannot wait to see them open. They're supposed to be black, so I'm excited about that. More hostas, more irises, which you can see I need to trim my irises, and then a little pop of color back there, but it's getting covered up by everything else, so I either need to pull it out of there or make it taller. I put in this flower bed last year off to the side, mostly just because this area is a real pain to mow around. And so I moved some hostas in here. I've got some irises and some tiger lilies. So hopefully a little piece of sedum in there. Hopefully this side will fill out eventually. On the other side of the porch, the same time I put in these front flower beds, I put in one, and surprisingly, it's finally filling out. So much so that it's coming up into my garden hoses. So I'm going to have to either move the hoses or move the hostas. But these are finally taken off and doing well. Oh, I meant to shut that off, not turn the camera. Okay, I went back in the house to get my coffee. Let's walk down to the vegetable garden, and I'll take you by what we call the center drive garden. We have a circle drive, and it's definitely a work in progress. So I'll show you that as we walk by, and then we'll go to the veggies. Okay, so coming down off the porch again. Gotta be careful. I got my big clunky boots on because we got a lot of rain lately. Everything's wet and muddy. Okay, so this is our center drive bed. It was already here when we moved in, which, like I said, we've been here for 5 years. And I'm trying to combat the periwinkle that just keeps wanting to take over. But we do have a beautiful hydrangea in there. Red bud trees have come up. I put in all these irises and sedums. And then this year I added some columbine. I'm not sure it's going to make it. I'm hoping it will. And then I also added coral bells. So again, it's a work in progress. I would like for this to be perennials and kind of a hands-off but beautiful space. I have some walking stones or path, what are they called? Paving stones in there. I would like to have a little walking path through it just so I could get in to maintain the garden. Piece of driftwood and some big rocks. I definitely prefer things that are more natural. I love using the pieces of wood and the rocks that we find. When we go on vacation, that is my favorite souvenir. Bring back either a piece of driftwood or a rock. And I try to make it big enough that I can put it in my garden and it make a difference. Okay, so here's the veggie garden, starting with raised beds. And then we have an in-ground space. All right, I'm going to turn you around and then tell you about each of these. Okay, so I do have 2 arched trellises here at the beginning, and I have different things on each of those. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get the camera just right. Okay, and try to keep you from falling over. Okay, there we go. All right. The neighbor that we have, he has a dump on his land, and my husband found this welcome sign. I don't know if you can see it. And I hung that from the trellises because I like this to be my entryway to the garden. I'm going to set my camera down, or not my camera, my coffee down, so that I can show you a little closer what each thing is. Okay, there we go. Okay, so on this side of the trellis, I do have sugar snap peas. I also have them on this side. However, they're two different varieties. One is a green variety and one is purple. I don't remember the names of them. I've planted them before, and the purple side is starting to bloom, so that's exciting. We've got a little bloom coming on here. Below the peas, sugar snap peas, I did go ahead and put in, down here in the corner, a honey nut squash. And then on this other side, I put in my zucchini for this year, which is kind of getting hidden in there. There's one, and there's one over here. I'll have to put the name on the screen because I don't remember what it was, but it's a climbing zucchini replacement. And so it is for, well, it replaces zucchini. It's supposed to be more bug resistant. And so we'll try it and see how it is. I really struggle with growing zucchini here on this property. This is my broccoli and cauliflower bed. And inside the row cover is lots and lots of volunteer dill. I'm hoping to be able to harvest some of this within a week. Here we've got, you can see through the cover, right there is a little head of broccoli. Okay, moving on over to this bed is where I have my garlic. And truthfully, I had that bed over there full of garlic, and this bed was full of garlic. And more than half of it rotted through the winter. I've never had that happen before. Very disappointing, but this variety is called Music, and it has done very well. I've even got scapes coming up on the garlic. So these are garlic scapes, and this is the garlic trying to set a flower and to set seed. So I need to pull those scapes off, and then I will be harvesting garlic within about a month. I have carrots in between the garlic, and then at the end of the bed I have golden beets. Those should be ready within a couple weeks. Down here I've put in two 4x4 beds. This one here I put in last year, filled it with asparagus, and you can see it's done very well. The other one I had last year was just flowers, but funny story, my husband and we love asparagus. Our kids love asparagus, and I went shopping. For my birthday each year, my mom, my sisters, my daughter-in-law, we all go to the greenhouse and then we go out to eat. And so this year I thought I'm going to add some more asparagus. I wanted a second asparagus bed. So I bought, I think, I don't even remember how many, 30 or 40 asparagus crowns. Well, my husband comes home that day and hands me a sack, and he also bought 30 or 40 asparagus crowns. So altogether, I have planted 75 asparagus crowns in these two 4x4 beds. I already know I'm going to have to separate them later, but I wanted to get them in the ground and get them started. And then my hope is that I will add a third 4x4 bed of just asparagus. Now, part of the embarrassment for today is that I desperately need to weed, and I'll get there. The grass is moving in quick. I did go, my husband and I went yesterday and got a truckload of straw, and so that will help in the garden with weeds and moisture control. I had to add, I don't know if you can see them. Here, I'll turn it this way. I had to add these fence pieces in here with the asparagus, and I'm going to have to add it in to this bed as well, because my darling Daisy, my dog, and there's my cat Sassy, she's coming. they like to lay in the beds, especially when you put straw in there. So I'm going to have to put some barriers to keep them out. This bed is onions and kale and beets. So I see you, Sassy. Come on. The onions I actually bought starts from Dixondale Farms out of Texas. I've never bought from them before. It is called Candy. They are an intermediate day onion. So depending on where you live in the country, you either need long day, short day, or intermediate day. And it has to do with the amount of sunlight that you receive in your area. So I also have carrots in between here, but the grass is taking over. So I'm going to be very careful pulling the grass out that I don't disturb the carrots. We'll see how it goes. My kale, I just took the row cover off this weekend. I've harvested big off of that kale twice. On the other side, I have more golden beets. I have some fennel and sweet alyssum. And then on the arched trellis, you can look around my tools, I have 2 snail vine plants. Love snail vine. It's just a flower. On the other side, I have 3 house jumbo cantaloupe. I really struggle with cantaloupe. And I'm hoping this one came recommended from a YouTuber, and I'm hoping that it works out well. So under these cages, again, dog resistant cages and cat resistant cages, I have tomatoes. So I'm going to turn this around. Let's see here. And pull you down so you can see it a little bit better. Okay. So over in this bed, I have 4 Roma tomatoes. I've never put my tomatoes in a raised bed before. I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but I do know that Roma tomatoes, and they're doing quite well. You can see here, that's basil in the middle, okay? They are a determinate tomato, so they only get to a certain size, supposed to be 3 to 4 feet, and I typically use a trellis or homemade tomato cages that are made with fencing for the indeterminate tomatoes, and I'm going to use those cheapy, you know, like, well, here, there's one behind me. I was using this as a row marker. So I'm going to use these on the Roma tomatoes. I think that they should work out okay. We'll see. Kind of an experiment. I do have basil here in the middle. I have over on this side some ground cherries. I have got ground cherries everywhere. Way back when, hi baby, I heard a YouTuber say, once you plant ground cherries, you will forever have ground cherries. And they were not kidding. I've got them all over the place. This whole bed on this side of the barrier is just full of ground cherry starts. I've pulled some. We've mowed some. They're down here in the grass below the bed. They're in the in-ground garden. They are just all over the place. But they are fun and they are delicious. So 4 ground cherries under buckets, 4 tomatoes, 4 basil, and then down here at the end, I have my cucumbers. Now, this is a variety called Lisboa, and what I will do is I will trellis these with some jute twine up on this wooden frame. I did this last year. It worked out wonderfully. They are a very prolific producer. They can get quite long and still be delicious, although I pick them around 5 to 6 inches long because I make lots of pickles. And so I'm excited that they are looking so well. I actually have one more plant in my little pop-up greenhouse that I need to put out somewhere. And then there's some volunteers of something coming up over here. They look like they are some kind of They don't look like cucumbers. They look more like a squash. Stay out of there. Or some kind of zucchini or something, but I really don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Ouch, get down, sissy. Okay. All right. So let me come get you and we'll go to the in-ground garden. Okay. So here I have a row of grow bags and containers. This is where I put my sweet potatoes. Now my son and his girlfriend, a while ago I called her my daughter-in-law. They're not married yet. They're not even engaged, but she's with us all the time, and so I just call her my daughter-in-law. But she has planted in these last 2 containers some potatoes. As you can see here, these are coming up. This other side, not coming up yet, but they were 2 different varieties, and so different varieties will come up at different times. I don't have my sweet potatoes planted yet. Then I have a row of the candy onions doing quite well. Now here in the center, I actually do have some things planted. This back half, see the metal pole in the middle towards me is corn. So it's a sweet corn. I've got 4 rows of that. And then on the other side of the metal pole, I have jade green beans. Those are our favorite green beans. They are prolific. They are delicious. We freeze them, I can them, we eat them fresh. We just really love that variety. So I think I will forever plant jade green beans. I just planted this out this last weekend, and so there is not any of that up yet. Here at the end of the rows, I do have, let's see, what do I have? Oh, sunflowers at the end of each row. They're just tiny little starts. Over here is a row of potatoes. There's 2 different varieties in there, and they are blooming, and that's so exciting. Let me show you one of the blooms. I can't get in there very far but okay. There is a potato bloom. Quite lovely. The other end is blooming white flowers, and that is because there are 2 different varieties. Let's see. Oh, this has been amazing. Another row cover with broccoli and cauliflower. I have already harvested 8 really large broccolis and 4 really large cauliflowers. And there's also volunteer dill coming up in there, some volunteer basil coming up in there. So I'm hoping probably within the next week, I will finish harvesting this area, clean that out, and then this is where my peppers are going to go. On the trellis, I have some tomatoes. I have greatly reduced the amount of tomatoes I'm growing this year because I grew so many last year and canned so much. We just don't need that much preserved again. And so I do have, let's see, what's this one called? This was a free packet from one of the seed companies that I ordered from, and it's called Saucy Lady. I've never grown that one before. I have German pink. Down at the other end, I've got, what do I have? Oh, one called Pineapple, recommended by a YouTuber. I've never grown that one before, but they said it was a nice big slicer for, you could use for sandwiches, but also really good for canning. It's yellow with some pink shoulders. I also have a Bush Goliath tomato down at the other end that my daughter started and gave to me. In between the tomatoes, in the very center, I have a, what is that? Oh, it's a honey nut squash. And then in between everything else, I put my drying beans. So I have done Cherokee Black, some pinto beans, and some rattlesnake beans. And so it was my goal this year to make this a an arched trellis the entire length of the garden, which is 32 feet. And that didn't happen, so maybe next year I can get that done. Let's see, let me turn them. Here I have, we're working on the orchard, which again, grassy and weedy. It needs some attention. I've put in some new raspberries this year. I've got raspberries and blackberries from a few years ago. We've put in some new fruit trees this year. And so once I get that all cleaned up, I will give you a more detailed and closer look at the orchard. Oh, I do have one volunteer tomato. This trellis last year had over 30 tomato plants on it. And I've gone down to 1, 2, 3, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 plants, I think. And I'm okay with that. Like I said, I canned so much last year that I just don't need that much this year. Here's a big patch of dill that came up on its own. I do have here at the other end, so a while ago we were standing down there and I said that part is corn, this part's green beans. This row right here with this little green bucket has not been finished. So in here I've got yellow squash and okra planted. And then I think I'm going to finish the row with sunflowers and zinnias because I haven't put any zinnias out yet. And they are one of my favorites to have in the garden. So I need to do that. And then under these other plant protectors are pumpkins. So that is exciting. Oh, I think one is a gourd. Yeah, this one down here on the end is a birdhouse gourd. So lots of fun, lots of great stuff, lots of work left to do. Thankfully, it has been a cool, wet spring, so I've been able to get out here and work and not be bothered by the heat. I do struggle with the heat, and so I work out here early in the morning and then late in the evening. And so in the midday, I stay in the house and either, do house stuff or work on canning and preserving or sewing, my other crafty things that I like to do. So thank you for coming along with me on our first garden walk of 2025. I would ask, if you are not a subscriber, please go to YouTube and subscribe. That helps my channel, and I would like to eventually have a very successful channel. I would like to at some point be able to monetize my channel and use this as my income. I am a teacher. I teach here at our local elementary, and I am getting close to retirement. And so it would be nice to have something else to jump into or to just kind of segue into. Oh, I left my coffee down there. Okay, I'll have to go back and get it. But anyway, please go like and subscribe my channel, share with your friends, and again, thank you for coming along. And I will see you on our next garden walk. Happy gardening. Bye.